press the bell icon on the YouTube app and never miss another update.
Hello children, we are in the discussion of biomolecules. So far we have finished the discussion of carbohydrates. Today we are starting our discussion on amino acids and proteins. Amino acids and proteins, that's our discussion. We know the fundamental backbone or the fundamental stone for the formation of proteins are amino acids. And these proteins are found in various contents like pulses, peas, we have nuts, we have meat, we have fish, and so many regions where dietary inputs where we are taking these proteins. Besides that, these proteins in the form of enzymes perform extremely important functions in our bodies. So in terms of enzymes, they perform different functions, and in terms of structures also, in the form of cytoskeleton of different individual organisms, they will play a very important role. These proteins play an important role there as well. But the basic scaffold that we have for these proteins are amino acids. So, knowing the characteristic property of amino acids like we understood in carbohydrates, monosaccharides, we will try to understand the basic functioning of these amino acids so that the concept of proteins will be clear to us, so that we can understand how exactly proteins will be made. The basic thing to say is that like monosaccharides were the repeating fundamental units of polysaccharides, similar way amino acids are the monosaccharides, they are monomers. So these polymerize and result in the formation of proteins. Now how many amino acids have combined with each other? The link which holds two amino acids together and which holds amino acids together in a protein, that link is called as peptide bond. That bond is called as peptide bond. So we will have a discussion like we have the discussion of glycosidic bond in case of carbohydrates. We have peptide bonds, and we will have a discussion of this peptide bond as we keep going forward. So the first thing that we need to understand is, children, the basic repeating unit, that is that's amino acids which are on the whole making proteins. But clear or not? So our discussion presently will be on amino acids. We'll have a primary focus of ours on amino acids. First of all, let us do the fundamental classification of these amino acids. Now, on the basis of charges present on the amino acids or on the basis of their polarity, amino acids can be classified in various ways. We have polar amino acids, and I will use amino acid from now on as AA. Then you got non-polar amino acids. You will understand each and every difference very clearly, what exactly is meant by polar amino acids and what is meant by non-polar amino acids respectively. Right, children? We'll have a discussion of that one by one on these things clearly. Yes. So this is one classification of amino acids on the basis of charges we have taken into consideration. Yes? Good. We have one more classification of these amino acids, which is based upon their interaction with the acids and bases. How do they interact with acids and bases? We have one more classification of this. We have acidic amino acids. We have basic amino acids. And we have neutral amino acids. Got it? One more classification that we can do for amino acids is need in the body. If amino acids are synthesized in the body, means they need not to be taken with the diet from outside. Those amino acids are called as non-essential amino acids because they can be synthesized within the body. So their precursors from where they are synthesized are present in the body. From them only they can be synthesized. So we, in simple words, there is a mechanism for the synthesis of certain amino acids within the body. So we need not to take those from outside in the dietary materials. So we call those amino acids as non-essential amino acids. And if we need those with the diet because our body is not able to prepare those, so we call those as essential amino acids. So one classification on the basis of charge, we have polar and non-polar amino acids. Now if amino acids are charged, we call those as polar. If they are not charged, they call as non-polar. Then with the interaction, how are these amino acids interacting with the acids and bases? Means when you are doing titration of the amino acids, when you titrate amino acids with an acid or a base, you will find out what exactly they are, acidic, basic or neutral. On the basis of their need within the body or on the basis of their need, we classify these amino acids as non-essential and essential amino acids. These are basic things that I have talked about. We'll take example of everything while we are discussing things forward. Now understand the fundamental discussion with respect to amino acids on the basis of which we have discussed these characteristic properties. Yes, sir. So be careful to understand it out very well. Good. Now let us see. Naturally existing amino acids that are in our body exist in the form of L conformation or to be configuration, L configuration. Now first of all, we have not understood what exactly amino acids are and why I am writing directly with respect to configuration. First, we have not understood the structure. Now, each amino acid, when you look, children, it is composed of 4 important parts. Amino acid, we have carbon. Each amino acid will contain one carboxylic acid, which in the aqueous medium will not be found in the form of COOH. We'll see those reactions later, chemical reactions. Then there is one hydrogen attached to it. Then you have got amine group attached to it. Amino group is attached. And you have one more part attached to it called as R, where this R is a side chain and it can vary. So each amino acid contains these things or these atoms or group of atoms as fundamental units. Which one? We have carboxylic acid, we got NH2 group and we got hydrogen. Now, because this carbon is directly attached to the primary functional carbon, so we will call this carbon as alpha carbon. So the hydrolyzed products of proteins usually will impart or give you alpha carbons. One more important thing that you need to take in mind. Now, when you look on Fischer projection, according to Fischer projection, when you show any amino acid, the most oxidized carbon will be given on the top. So I am mentioning that. So COOH. Then we know, according to Fisher projection, we are drawing two lines, one vertical line and horizontal lines, right? Vertical, or right or not? And so when you are drawing that down, the point of intersection in the Fisher projection represents one chiral center. So this particular alpha carbon is asymmetric. That means it is chiral because this is attached to 4 different groups. So technically, amino acids that we have seen so far will be optically active. However, we know that there are 21 different amino acids. And how do we get all those different amino acids is on the basis of this R group. So as the R keeps on varying, the amino acid keeps on changing. Every amino acid will have these 3 at their fundamental units. So this R varies. Now simple thing is there, if this side chain R is H, then what will this amino acid become? Suppose if R is H for us, then what will this become? It will be C alpha, then you got COOH, then you have got NH2, then you have got H, and you have got H. Now as a result of that, this carbon is not asymmetric. So this carbon C alpha is not chiral. This amino acid is called as glycine. What's it called as? Glycine. You can represent it by a simple word G or GLY. You can represent by G, glycine, or G or GLY. Correct? In molecular biology, you might have done the codon. Codon is made up of 3 what? Bases, adenine, thymine, guanine, so on and so forth. So different bases will be coming to play. Each codon codes for a particular amino acid, and there are some stopping and starting codons as well, as all of you know. So you got this glycine. So glycine is the only amino acid which is not chiral. As a result of that, it is optically inactive. So there is no optical activity exhibited by it. So optical isomerism will not be shown by it. One. Number 2, next one. It is that in Fisher projection, whenever you show it, we show the NH2 group on the chiral center, always on the left side. Which side? Left side. It matches with the OH which is present on CHO, CH2OH, and you got here H. This is glycer aldehyde, right? On this asymmetric carbon, that is on this chiral carbon, we have got OH on the left side, right or not? So what do we call this isomer as? L-glyceraldehyde, right? Optical activity is completely different, that we are not talking about here. So this is our L isomer, right? Now here NH2 is exactly on the left side, yes or no? So this will be L amino acid for us. Now depending upon what's the side chain. Suppose if the side chain is H, it will be L-glycine. Amino acids can exist in L and D, both L and D formers, but naturally existing amino acids, most of the amino acids will be in L configuration. Keep it in mind. Now sir, in monosaccharides you said, when you are talking about D and L and D configuration, it is on the basis of the NH2 group shown on the left side, correct or not? So in structure wise, whenever you are showing it, according to Fisher projection, most oxidized carbon should be on the top, yes. And in order to show this particular amino acid to be an L amino acid, this NH2 group is shown on the left. Do understand it very well. NH2 is shown on the left. This reference of glyceraldehyde is not used for amino acids. We don't use glyceraldehyde as a reference for what? Amino acid, because there are two different categories. Now, what exactly is the reference standard on the basis of which we call this one as L and this one as D? Remember, it is on the basis of amino acid whose and which contains side chain in the form of CH2OH. So, if you have C here, carbon, C alpha, then you have COOH, then you got H here, then you have NH2 here, and then you got CH2OH. So technically, children, this CH2OH group that is shown here is side chain. And when CH2OH is a side chain, that amino acid is called as serine. Got it? Now we know it's optically active or inactive. 100% it will be optically active. Yes or no? Where is NH2 group present? On the left side. Do understand it, children? So it is, our reference is serine, right? Serine you call it as SER. So when you draw it as mirror image, children, you will find out this will be COOH. You will have carbon. What you will get here? At a far distance you will get NH2. What you will get here? H, and you will have again CH2OH. Get it in mind. What is this? Which serine is this one? Amino acid only, right? But this is C alpha, amino acid, correct. D or L? This is D. But remember, the D serine is optically active, but it is dextrorotatory. So it will be D serine. And this will be L or D. This is L, and this is optically active, and it is dextrorotatory. So here, there is a coincidence that D is levorotatory and here L is dextrorotatory. But keep it in mind, L and D are completely different. So we'll get two isomers out of it. It's optically active. So if one of this is optically active and rotating the plane of polarized light towards left, the other one, which is the mirror image, non-superimposable mirror image, will be optically active, but it will rotate the plane of polarized light towards right. That's our reference standard for us. Because in this case, like in glyceraldehyde, you can see that here. Like in glyceraldehyde, similar way we have got so okay, like in glyceraldehyde, children, in CH2OH is there in serine also, right? But keep it in mind, this serine has got it as side chain R. So on the basis of this R, when the R will keep on changing, the amino acid will keep on changing as well. So we'll get different amino acids on the basis of R. Oh, got it or not? Oh, clear? Am I clear with this fact? So what do we have in each amino acid? We got carboxylic acid, we got amine group, then you have a side chain, and then you have H. Optically inactive, only one optically inactive amino acid we have called as glycine with a side chain of H. So one more is there, alanine. I will draw a few. Short term representation A or ALA. Alanine. Okay. So for alanine, children, or side chain is CH3. Methyl group is the side chain for alanine. That makes what it? So C, this is C alpha. Why? Because this is directly attached to the primary functional group, that is COOH. According to Fischer projection, most oxidized carbon shown on the top. So you can directly show it in one more way. But now there is one stereo center. You can draw the lines directly. So point of intersection is the stereo center. So you will have COOH. Then this should be shown on the left side. Why? Because it matches with L serine. Correct or not? Then on this side, what you got? You got H here. Then you have a side chain. And side chain will be in the form of what? Or you can write down here R. So there, no problem in this case. But these two are important representations. So you got R, and then you got side chain. Then you have got hydrogen, fundamental units, right? And R for us in the present case is CH3, NH2 on the left side. So it's L, but this R is CH3, so this is alanine. Glycine, understood? This is alanine. Now in this case also you can see the number of COOH groups is equal to the number of NH2 group. This is base, right? And this one is acid. when the number of acidic and basic groups on an amino acids are equal, such an amino acid is called as neutral amino acid. There is no charge on that amino acid at all at the present case. But later we'll see that in aqueous medium they are not existing in this way at all. Correct or not? So when the number of, in an amino acid, when the number of COOH groups equals to the number of NH2, such a amino acid will be neutral amino acid. Correct? What about acidic amino acid? Very simple now. In which COOH groups, number of COOH groups will be more than number of NH2 groups. This will be our acidic amino acid. And if number of COOH groups is less than number of NH2 groups, that will be our basic amino acid. Here AAA means acidic amino acid. Later don't tell me, sir, you are writing abbreviations itself. Need not to waste time on proper and clean and clear cut writing. You should understand things, that's most important. So you need to focus on the class more precisely, children. So even if it's an online class, you need to make sure to understand things well without wasting your time, because as observed, the NEET exam will be held on the time in 2021. So you need to be careful. JEE exams will be held on times. With respect to JEE still, we need to think about, because notifications and other things maybe with the passage of time might change. But you need to make sure that first set of exam will be in Feb at the max, and next will be in April. So if the NEET exam is not in May, maybe it will be in June. So 1 month pushing of the exam doesn't hold much value for us itself, right? So need to be careful, children. So one classification I said acidic, basic and neutral amino acids. It's on the basis of number of COH and number of NH2 groups. Now you might ask, sir, already you said in a basic amino acid we have fundamental R, NH2, then you got R, and then you have H. So where is the chance of having more NH2 groups, or where is the chance of having more COH groups? There is a definite chance, because this R group which we talked about side chain, this can be sometimes say CH2, CH2, COOH. Sometimes it can be CH2, C double bond O, NH2. Got it or not? Sometimes it can be simple hydrogen or simple CH3. Yes or no? So if you look on this, there is one additional NH2 group here. That will make it basic. There is one additional COH group here in the side chain. That will make it acidic. So on the basis of this side chain, when it alters, you will find out the amino acid changing from acidic amino acid. We can have basic amino acid. We can have neutral amino acids also. And one more important thing now, how do you mention the polarity there, sir? How you can classify it in terms of polar and non-polar? That we'll see once we do the discussion in aqueous medium. How are these amino acids in actual practice present? Did you understand or not? Basic thing. So I said this one is what? Alanine. Where side chain is what? For us. For R is CH3. This is alanine. Am I clear, children? Very good. Write down one more amino acid, children. We have so many amino acids around us, right? Write one more amino acid. Valine or valine, you call that as. Okay, so we have C alpha as usual, then you got COOH, then as usual, because they are in L configuration with respect to that stereo center, then you got H, so I'll write down H here itself. In this valine, R is C, CH3 twice, and H. That means R will be which group for us? C, then CH3, how many times? Twice. So you can make it down like this, CH3, CH3 and H. This is C, CH3 twice. So this is the side chain for us. This is what? Valine. Now again the side chain is polar or non-polar? This side chain is non-polar for us, because methyl groups are non-polar groups, right? And you can see carboxylic acid and NH2 groups present here. So no addition. This will be again a neutral amino acid for us. Yes or no? Next one, children. You are getting it or not? We'll draw it here. Cysteine is there. What's the group there? Cysteine. So in cysteine, what do we have? Cysteine, one of the important amino acids responsible for the formation of disulfide linkage. As you know, amino acid which is made up of 51 insulin, which is made up of 51 amino acids, and those amino acids are held with each other by disulfide linkage. Or C peptide will be cut from it. Two chains are obtained. Those two chains are held by each other by disulfide linkage. And cysteine is the one where disulfide linkages will come into play. How? Because the group side chain for this is R equals to what? CH2SH. This is the side chain for cysteine. You want to see it out? Have a look. So we'll have C alpha, COOH, then you got NH2, then you got H and R in the form of CH2SH. How is disulfide linkage made? Have a look. So you got SH here from one chain, from the cysteine amino acids R chain. One more. So from cysteine's amino acids R chain is what? SH. So these two hydrogens will be removed. Dehydrogenation occurs. So sulfur will be linked to sulfur. This is called as disulfide linkage. So one chain, sulfur bonded to sulfur, other chain. This is disulfide linkage. This is possible only when we have amino acid containing sulfur, and that is which one? Cysteine. Am I clear with the thought? Similar way, children, there are extremely larger number of amino acid units that you have. Say we have glutamic acid. In glutamic acid, side chain is CH2CH2COOH. So this is glutamic acid, and you can understand it out here now. So if I have this group here, so I will remove this one now, right? From valine I will remove. So it becomes what? Glutamic acid. What is R here? CH2CH2COOH. So when I draw it, it will be CH2CH2COOH. So how many carboxylic groups you got here? 2. How many amine groups is there? 1. So they two can neutralize each other, but this will remain as such. It will be acidic amino acid for us, right? So in the similar way, on the base of the R, you can have different types of chains coming to play, and even these side chains can be also made up of aromatic systems. So if aromatic rings are present in the side chains, then amino acid will be called as aromatic. So you can have different types of classification for different amino acids: polar, non-polar, acidic, basic, aromatic, so on and so forth. Cationic, anionic, depending upon what are the charges present on the molecules respectively. Am I clear? So you can have a look at home, children, and you can have a look on this clearly. In serine I said a while earlier, SERINE, serine or serine, how you pronounce it. So what is the side chain here? SH. And on the base of serine, that is the reference standard, because it is asymmetric carbon is attached to CH2OH, similar to that of glyceraldehyde. But here L and D configuration is calculated on the base of NH2 group, whether it's on the left side or on the right respectively. That's a basic calculation that I said. Am I clear? Very good. Let us move further. So I'm just doing the structural analysis of amino acids. Okay, so amino acids. So basic classification of amino acids I have done. Yes. So I said here, in case of side chain is altered, so according to the side chain, only different amino acids will come into play. So 21 different amino acids will come into play. Most of them, 20 of them are optically inactive. But one which has the side chain R as H, that's called as glycine. There you will find out different arrangements coming into play. Very good. Now further, children, we discussed the D and L configurations with respect to stereocenter. And I said naturally occurring amino acids are in which configuration? L configuration. Then I said they are usually called as alpha amino acids because of alpha carbon present. Alpha carbon, you understood that it's directly linked to what? So you have carboxylic acid. This will be our C alpha, which is linked to H, linked to R, and linked to NH2 group respectively. When you look on this stereo center of an amino acid, as it is chiral, so while naming it, R and S system of nomenclature can also be used around the stereo center. We know RS system of nomenclature is based upon priority rules. And if you have done your haloalkanes very properly, there is a basic discussion in SN1, SN2 mechanisms. When you look on RS system of nomenclature, where R means rectus, a Latin word rectus which means right, also means clockwise, and S is sinister. It's like E and Z system of nomenclature. So this is in carbohydrates where stereo center is present. R and S system of nomenclature. Sinister, that means left, that is called as counterclockwise. So that's, in other words, anti-clockwise. So that will be anti-clockwise. Basic thing is based upon the priority of each group when you are naming it in the form of R and S system of nomenclature, because there is a stereo center. So around that stereo center, what is the arrangement of those groups like carboxylic group, NH2 group, hydrogen and R respectively. Now varying things can come into play. Most understand it, because invariably when you do the priority, when the priority things are done, priority rules are applied, and we know priority rules can be used in terms of what? SIP calculations or SIP rules. What are SIP rules? Chan, Ingold and pre-log rules. What do they state? According to Chan, Ingold and pre-log rules, whenever priority of any functional group has to be taken into account, you should take priority of an atom into consideration whose atomic number is more. Number one. Number two, if atomic number is same, then, and there are two isotopes, that means atomic number is same, then, so if atomic number is same, then next you should go for atomic mass A. Got it? Suppose if you have two similar atoms attached to a stereo center, then you need to keep on moving forward to look for point of difference. So on whichever the side chain or whichever the group, you will find a bulkier group that should be prioritized more. Suppose around a stereo center carbon, suppose we have COOH, got it? And you got CH2SH. Clear or not? Or to be precise, you got CH2Cl. So stereo center carbon, so it is C double bond O, OH, correct? Here it is carbon attached to carbon. Carbon is attached to carbon, here also carbon attached to carbon. Then you got hydrogen, then you got hydrogen, then you got chlorine. You see here carbon to carbon, carbon to carbon, right? Here first is carbon, so no point of difference. This is directly attached to what? Oxygen. This is directly attached to chlorine. So you got a point of difference directly here, so this will be prioritized. This will get the priority. Clear? Now we have to go back in the Fisher projection and understand RS system of nomenclature. Now according to Fisher projection, the bond which is coming down on the plane of paper are the bonds actually which are going away from you, and the lines which are drawn on the paper, it's like this. If I am standing, I have opened my arms. Opening the arms means I am telling somebody to come close, right or not? Yes or no? So from top to bottom, oh yes or no? This bond notation and this bond notation, this is horizontal or vertical? Coming from top to bottom. So this is horizontal, this is vertical. Yes. Correct or not? Now these bonds are said to be going away. So if I mention here carboxylic acid, I will mention here hydrogen, then I will mention here NH2, and suppose for us side chain in the present case for us is say CH3. I am talking about valine, CH3. Yes? Sorry, not valine, alanine. Now these two bonds means they are going away from you. These two are coming towards you. So we can notate it out according to Fisher projection. We can show these bonds also by wedges, right or not? These are coming towards you. These are the bonds coming towards you, and these are dashed lines going away. The basic rule according to this SIP calculation is that whenever you want to name any stereocenter containing molecule as R and S, the important thing is that according to Fisher projection we have to show this COH on the top. There is no on the top means this is going away from you, this is also going away from you. This is hydrogen for us, right? Basic rule is that whenever you want to name it as R and S, I'm talking about basic funda. I cannot talk about everything here. So what is the possible rotation? What is the flipping rotation? 180 degree, 90 degrees, when it is 120 degrees, all those rotations I'm not going to talk, because in SIP calculations, which rotations are allowed and which not in Fisher projection, that you need to see as well. If you have done it already, you have done it, that's very good. So I'll directly talk about the naming here. So hydrogen is going away from you. Basic rule when you are naming it is that when you do the priority, what is the first atom here? Nitrogen, 1, its highest atomic number. This is carbon, this is carbon. Now here, carbon is attached to what? Oxygen, as I showed a while earlier. Carbon here is attached to hydrogen. So this gets number 2 for us. And this will be number 3. Now you can see that hydrogen is already going away from you, so no need to flip it. There is no need to flip it, because you can see that hydrogen is already going away from you. So the lowest priority group should be present on the bond in such a way that it's going away from you. Now if I consider these three to be in circle, which one is it here? It is NH2, it is COOH, and here it is CH3. What is going behind? It is hydrogen going behind, correct or not? You can see when I move from nitrogen, throw carbon to one more CH3 group. This is nitrogen, carbon to oxygen, carbon to hydrogen. I will go clockwise or counterclockwise? I'll go clockwise. Which molecule is it? Alanine. So I'll go in which configuration? R configuration. Oh, did you get it? I'll get R configuration. Now if you flip it 180 degrees, what degrees? 180 degrees. So 180 flip in the molecule will not bring any change in the configuration at all. Yes? So most of the arrangements that we have are in which configuration, children? R. This is clockwise or anti-clockwise? This is clockwise, yes. This is which amino acid I have shown for it? Alanine. Oh, are you understanding or not? When the flips will be given, say, instead of that we have serine. Most of the amino acids, NH2 will be our priority group, followed by carboxylic acid and followed by R. That's a general order that we'll have. Because N will always be attached to C alpha, then you will have carboxylic group, then you will have side chain. This side chain cannot be directly linked by oxygen except serine, where there is S attached to it. So you can have a link like this. You got NH2, I'm drawing the direct Fisher projection for us. So then you have COOH, then you have suppose hydrogen here, then you have which one? CH2SH. So rather than having this one as the second priority, this one will get second priority. So this will be 1, this will be 2, this will be 3. Oh, you understood or not? Nitrogen, which is attached directly to C alpha, is the highest atomic number containing. Then here it is carbon and again carbon, which is linked to what? Oxygen. Here carbon, hydrogen, which is linked to what? C, H, H. It is linked to what? Sulfur. Here carbon is linked to what? Oxygen. So this gets priority or not? Now when you, hydrogen is already downwards, It's already the vertical bond, right? It's going already away from you. So this priority group, lowest priority, this will be fourth. It's already going away from you. Yes or no? Once it's already going away from you, you need not to rotate the molecule itself at all. So the name of the molecule will be what? 1, 2, 3. This is clockwise or anti-clockwise? This is going in opposite direction. So this is counterclockwise. This will be S and this will be R. Most of the amino acids will be in R configuration except what? Serine. Why? Because in serine the functional attachment is CH to S, and S gives the side chain more priority compared to the carboxylic end. Am I clear? What if, sir, we have been given an amino acid? Keep it in mind, in Fischer projection, most oxidized carbon should be on the top, right, when you are drawing it. If it is not given in that way, then basic rule I will tell you. The basic rule is, if the lowest priority group is not going away from you in the given bond, structure shown is completely different to you, then the basic thing that you should keep in mind is that prioritize the group around the stereocenter. Whatever the configuration you get, oppose that. Just do oppose. Suppose if you are getting R, it's actually S, because without rotations you are brought it into play. Let me show you. Say I have COOH here. Okay, then I got hydrogen here, then I got CH2OH here, like in case of which one? A while earlier, which one I showed? Side chain is what? CH2SH. Which one is it? Cysteine, right? Oh, it is cysteine, correct? Did I say serine a while earlier? No, it is cysteine, right? Because side chain is SH. Now it is CH2OH. And then as usual you got NH2 group. Now we have a problem here. Problem is that this hydrogen is present coming towards you, and we know whenever you have to name it, the lowest priority atom should be always away from you. How can you do that? By rotations. What are different rotations available? We can fix the most oxidized carbon as such on the top, right? Yes, it is done. So fix its position, hold it. Then first we'll give priority. This is 1. Then, now it should be seen very well. Carbon, link it to carbon, double bond to oxygen, then OH. Here carbon, link it to carbon, hydrogen, hydrogen, then OH. O is how many times here? Once. Remember, when there is a double bond, this carbon is considered to be attached to it twice. So it C double bond O will be like this, COOC. So CO has come twice. It's in SIP calculation. According to SIP rules, you have to show the alkyl groups, you have to show single bond, double bonds like that. If there is a double bond, carbon should be shown twice. CC. Twice it should be. If it is thrice, that's why in SIP calculation, C triple bond C has more priority than C double bond C than C single bond C. Because here C is considered to be attached to carbon 3 times. Here carbon attached to oxygen twice, here only once. So this will get priority, not CH2OH. Line of difference is there because double bond is existing there and it's existing twice. So it will be 1, it will be 2, this will be 3 and this will be 4. We got into problem. I am using SIP rules to name it in the form of R and S. Important, extremely important. Correct or not? Because we will do so many things at the end. They will ask question. The following amino acid has got R or S configuration around the stereocenter. So important thing, 3 things are important here. You should know which amino acid has what side chain, and you should know the stereocenter and conversion of that, means flipping to be required. So most oxidized carbon I will keep such. What I need to do, I need to bring this hydrogen at the place of CH2OH group. Only then this hydrogen will be going away from me. Yes or no? According to Fischer projection. Alright. Correct. So this CH2 I have to bring down. So what I can do is, if I give it 180 degree flip, what will happen? 180 degree flip will mean I will get CH2OH here, then I will get COOH here. Doesn't matter. COOH, most oxidized carbon should be on that particular line, means basic Shackleton. And that horizontal and vertical lines I have talked about, right? So, and then once you are done the flip, it will come this side, NH2, and H will come this side. Remember, 180 degree flip will not do anything at all because you have rotated this as well as this one. So configuration will remain the same. There will be no alteration in the configuration at all by 180 degree flip. Yes. Then what do I do is I keep hold of COOH. What is the main work I have to do? I have to bring hydrogen here, right? If I do that, it's like this one. So we have one bond of carboxylic acid above here. Yes. Clear? Then you have one. These are the two bonds coming towards you. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Keep it in mind. These two are going into screen, these bonds. And these two bonds are coming out of screen. You can understand it like this. Yes? Good. Now hold carboxylic acid. Once you are holding carboxylic acid, you can bring rotations into play. So what was there? Here and here. So you can rotate it by 3 degree rotations will happen. So once you rotate it down, so this base is rotating, you will get COOH on the top. Yes, then once rotation has come, H will come here, CH2OH group will go here, NH2 will come here. Yes or no? So the group will be now, what is here? Hydrogen. It has come at its place away from it. What is there now? NH2. Instead of that, it is CH2OH. Then what is here? We got now. What is here now? NH2. Now what was the priority of NH2? It was 1, it was 2, it was 3. Correct or not? What's the name of this compound? It will be R or S? It will be S configuration for us. I said only in serine. Almost of the amino acids will be in R configuration except serine. Because in serine, you are, sorry, this does not get priority, children. Priority will go to COH or CH2OH. In case of cysteine, I said that. Sorry, in case of cysteine, I said, so it will be 1, it will be 2, it will be 3. Which one? It will be R. Here it was which configuration? Which one? You got S. Cysteine is the only amino acid where there is S configuration. Most of the amino acids will be in R configuration. This is R or S? This is 1, 2, 3. Again you got S configuration here. Anti-clockwise. Did you follow the point here? Or clear or not? Try one more example, children. You can do it. Say I have COOH, H, CH2, COOH. This is NH2 here. And you have H here. Name it fast. Yes, do it fast. Fast, fast. I'm just waiting for your answer, children. Do it out. Yes, done. So what's the point I have made? Most of the amino acids are in which configuration? S, except which one? Cysteine, which is in which configuration? R. Now it needs to be seen whether the given, see, the positioning of the R and H will vary. If suppose you have carboxylic acid here, H is already at the highest possible place, it's going away from you. So it's already at the place where it should be. Then when you are numbering, it will be 1, this should be 2, this should be 3. Yes or no? When you are naming it, it will be left hand side or right hand side. It seems to be clockwise, right? It seems to be clockwise because nitrogen will get one priority, carbon with oxygen, here carbon with carbon. So carbon oxygen gets priority. It seems to be what configuration? R configuration. So you can have a look on the structures. When the structures will be given to you, on the basis of that you can find whether the configuration with respect to the given amino acid will be in which around the stereo center, what will be the configuration. In terms of D and L, we have already mentioned it's L, and in terms of the spatial on the basis of the spatial priority rules, we have the configuration around the central chiral center, the only stereo center that we have, that will be which configuration? S, except for cysteine where it is R. So you can change it out, and most of the time is as you have already done the discussions in our usual classes. Clear or not? You can do few more examples, so which will prove us that most of the amino acids which are present will be in which configuration? S configuration. Yes. Try certain examples. Say I have COOH group, then I got H, then I got H, then I have NH2. Now tell me the configuration with respect to the stereo center, whether it is R or S system. Try it, children. Quick, I'm waiting for the answer. Yes, Sharon, quick. Faster, children. I'm here. Clear? Again, this what will be the configuration for this one? You cannot discuss any configuration with respect to this because no stereo center. So final conclusion is, children, most of the naturally existing amino acids have what configuration? S, except which one? Except which one? Cysteine, where it is R. And what's the reason for that? Because SH has more priority compared to CO group. That's what we learned. So if you have hydrogen here and you have CH3 here, what's the basic rule I said? If you don't rotate a molecule at all, you are not rotating. As I said, in many cases, I didn't rotate the molecule. So when I rotate the molecule, then it will change. Yes, if I am not rotating the molecule, whatever the name you get, I will repeat. If we do not rotate the molecule and bring highest priority number. Highest priority number means 4. Keep it in mind. Highest priority number is 4. Lowest priority number is 1. And you will always start from lowest priority number. Got it? So this, like this one. 1, this will be 2, this will be 3. I am not rotating the molecule at all. If I don't rotate the molecule, what I will get? It's clockwise, right? So it will be R type, but actually it should be S. Because whatever I am getting without rotation, the name will be reversed out. Correct or not? Now if I do a bit of rotation, what will happen? If I do a bit of rotation, what will happen? NH2 will come here, H will go here, CH3 will go up. Right or not? So once rotation is done, H comes here, NH2 goes here. So 1 will be here, this is 3 will be here, 2 will remain at the same place. You can find out this is S configuration. That's what I am telling you. So if you keep COOH as such, do rotation, the lowest priority group, highest number, which is 4 for this hydrogen, should come down. Hydrogen, what will be here? It will be NH2. And what will be here? NH2 comes here, right? H comes here. What will be here? CH3. Number 1, number 2, number 3. Check the name. So it is clockwise or counterclockwise. This hydrogen is going away from you, right? We can mention it like this. So here you have NH2, here you have COOH, and here you have CH3. After rotation, this is hydrogen going behind. These are basic rules I am talking about. If you are getting any confusion, I will not be responsible for that. Why? Because it should be already done in your stereochemistry topics. Stereochemistry topics of different organic parts which have been already dealt with, like alkyl halides and other things. Mostly you will not get any confusion because it will be already properly done. Good. So you are getting H, NH2. So it will be 1, this will be 2, this will be 3. So this is counterclockwise. So this will be S system for us. Yes, without rotation, or actually it is S. So that's what I said. Most of the naturally existing amino acids are in which configuration? Which one? Now if you look on that cysteine which I said a while earlier, now suppose it is cysteine, it is NH2 here, then you have COH here, then you have cysteine, CH2SH here, then you have H here. So what is the order you will get? Different priority orders will come into play, yes? Right or not? This will get, without any rotation when it comes into play, what will happen is, the name will respectively be coming into play, whatever the name you are getting from it. Is it clear? So most naturally occurring amino acids will be in which configuration? L or D? They will be in L configuration. And what will be the arrangement of the atoms with respect to stereocenter in terms of R and S? It will be S, except cysteine which will be R respectively. Am I clear? Very good. So this is how we need to go with the things, children, and understand things well. Fine. So we'll continue with this discussion of the properties shown by these amino acids in aqueous mediums. Fine. Thank you.